Hey guys, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Marcella.
And it has been a long time.
We're not virtual, we're actually with each other. Yeah. We're not in separate houses.
No, because like I feel like when we do vlogs and stuff, we're actually like physically together. But most of the time we are virtual because Marcella does live in Tennessee now and I live in New Jersey. So, you know, Marcella's visiting Jersey because we turned 30. You guys didn't know.
We just celebrated our birthdays. I am, if you don't know, our birthdays are super close. I am born on February 17th and hers is the 23rd, so that was yesterday. So yeah, here celebrating our birthdays, and we're gonna have a fun New York City trip planned for overnight, so we're excited about that.
We are gonna film some videos that we can post, you know, throughout, like a couple, just so that way, you know, you guys can see us together a little bit.
Yeah.
Until we're together the next time, which will be hopefully soon in the next couple months. But
yeah.
Anyway, so we're here right now because we want to talk about the Elvis movie. I know we are really late on doing a review for Elvis.
Yeah, so that's probably my fault because I just saw it tonight. So I'm late on seeing it. I didn't realize that this came out like a while ago. I thought that it came out more recent, but anyway. So yeah, we're gonna share our thoughts on that. I think this will be pretty spoilery. I mean, I guess it's hard to even be spoiled. Not really though. I mean, if you don't know anything about Elvis and you want to wait and watch the movie to find out more, then it's spoilery. But I mean, this is like a real person, so I guess. I mean, it's history, so.
It is. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess like non-spoilery, we could quickly basically say like this movie, if you have not seen it yet,
it goes through Elvis's career basically. Yeah. I went into this not knowing like any details about Elvis and how crazy his journey was. But it was really, really interesting to see, and so cool because we both love the music, obviously. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I have seen it now. I think this might have been my third time seeing it. I really love this movie. I think it, like, 'cause again, we both grew up with Elvis, always like playing and stuff like that, but it was really awesome getting like an inside look as to how the music that we know, like we grew up with, like how it came to be and how his career was and all that. And it's just it was a really great movie. Like if you have not seen it, I really highly recommend going and watching it, and you'll probably become obsessed because I have since been obsessed.
Yes.
Especially like Austin Butler, his portrayal as Elvis
is amazing,
just incredible.
Yeah.
Like
we went back after watching the movie and we went on YouTube and like they show like the side by side of actual Elvis and then his portrayal, and it is so spot on. Like he did a really, really amazing job.
He's unbelievable. So yeah, so if you've not seen it, then I'm sorry to say that you should go see it and stop this video because you don't want to get spoiled on the actual events of the film. But if you do know about Elvis and you know you don't mind spoilers, then feel free to hang out. What was your favorite part of the movie?
I don't know. I gotta think about that. I really like the part where he has the leather jacket on and he's doing that performance. And
yeah,
it's like
the
really
comeback
small
special.
Yeah, I really like that part.
My favorite part of this was definitely, like, I love the entire comeback special.
Like all the moments where he's like being himself and not letting like everybody else's opinions of like what he needs to be and like what he can't do on stage, like all of those scenes where he's actually like embracing what he loves to do and what he loves to sing and everything like that, those were my favorite. So
I think that's like what was really cool about Elvis is I really feel like he was somebody who was ahead of his time. Like even with because we're at a point in history where there's segregation and this was pre-Martin Luther King. So like just seeing that and how, like, I just loved it. Like he was so like free-spirited, and I love how he had such an escape within the Black community, and I just really loved seeing that and seeing how they accepted him as well and how he took some of that inspiration because, and like the gospel music and stuff like that, because that's
the
like
blues kind of like where the
and that's like what he grew up like loving and stuff. So I really loved seeing that kind of be how he like embraced that and brought it to life in a different way. And it's always so funny because like I mean, you guys don't know. I feel like everybody knows at this point. Like, we are hardcore Jonas Brothers fans. So, like, we have been, like, fangirls, like, our entire lives. Like, about, like, music and, like, boy bands, like, One Direction, like, Harry Styles we love. Like, just, like, all that stuff. So, like, it's just really cool to kind of see, like, the birth of that.
Yeah, to see, like, fangirls in, like, the making and, like, before it was, like, a huge thing. And it's just funny because he's, you know, dancing like crazy and stuff and like shaking and
like I love that scene in the beginning and like the girls are watching it like and it's first like it's like this like country kind of concert and everybody's like very well behaved like sitting down watching
and then like all chaos breaks loose and it's like ah
and it's like oh my god and everybody just starts screaming and they're like what are we feeling?
Well, because back then I mean that's a very big part is that it was very inappropriate to them that how he was dancing and I feel like I didn't know that. I didn't realize that that was so controversial back then that he danced like that and it was considered like
provocative,
provocative
even like
and
inappropriate.
Like, and then with like the racism at the time and how, you know, he grew up in a black community and really listening to the music that they listened to, and so that was not okay to everybody else that's where that came from, like his love of that kind of music and everything like that and like the way that he danced.
I love the scene when you know, like they start trying to make like the new Elvis who's very like clean cut and who doesn't move any of his hips and doesn't dance,
even wiggle his finger
and doesn't wiggle his finger and then he says like don't you wiggle a finger like at all on stage or whatever and then he very purposely does this and then he just like does like a fantastic performance and everybody's freaking out, everybody's loving it and then they have to like get him off the stage.
That was great.
And then after that that's obviously what sends him to it's either the army or jail, and then he obviously ends up joining the army. And it's really crazy because it just comes back to like the time period and when this entire thing was happening because of the way that it was happening and all these laws that were against Elvis, it wasn't accepted, and the only thing that he was able to do if he wasn't going to go to jail was to join the military and kind of prove that he is an American citizen.
To change his image,
and to try to become more of like, you know, like his culture and embrace being an American and stuff like that. And then that ultimately is what led his mom down a really sad path, and she was addicted to alcohol and her heart couldn't take it, and it's just really sad. I mean, I feel like his mom might have been a little bit overprotective to me.
Their relationship was weird to me in the movie.
It's a little odd.
Like when he's in the closet and he's like crying on top of her clothes, and there was a comment about like the mom made about like the girls are gonna come between them. It was just like that's strange.
But the whole thing was it like said in like the beginning like she had lost her son, like Elvis's brother.
Exactly. So like
and then when her father had
terrified of losing another son.
At that point it was literally just like the two of them because like the dad also went to jail at some point, so like they literally like were all each other had for a time period, and I think that that's where that stemmed from. But I know it was a very overprotective. It was definitely protective, but I will say that she definitely like helped to keep him like in line in a way. Like she definitely like grounded him a little bit, and I think that the Colonel, who Tom Hanks did a fantastic job making me hate him so much in this movie. Especially like the more I watch this movie, like the more manipulative, like once you like know, like when you watch it again, like you'll know like the ending of it. So like you'll really like see how manipulative this entire thing was. And especially like when he goes to Elvis, when he's crying about his mother, and Elvis is in such a vulnerable position, and he's basically says like, I'm gonna be like that figure for you, I will be your mom's voice, like I will guide you and be another father to you, and that kind of thing. And I mean, I also feel like Elvis's father himself did fail him as well, like as a business management. Like I think I think
many people failed him, especially with the drugs and how they were giving him the drugs to keep him awake and then to basically help him sleep. It was just, he was exhausted, like he was overworked and exhausted, and it was just so sad to see. Yeah, it really was.
It's really sad because it really became kind of like a slow descent. Like
he felt like he was literally like being like he was like trapped. Like
one of my favorite parts though is I love the part, like the editing of this movie is always like really, really good too. Like the way that they
I like the transitions too. There's that one part where he's watching the guy with the guitar play that song, and then it's like flashing to him actually performing it.
Yeah, like the transitions that they did and like the editing choices were really cool. But I loved because like when he's like the military in Germany, that's when he does meet Priscilla. And when he meets Priscilla and then it kind of flashes. I like how it has like Can't Help Falling in Love with You playing. I think that's real. I think that part's really cute. And then, like, you guys know us. Like, I always, like, gravitate to the romance.
Yeah. Their downfall, though, was sad. It really was.
It's very sad.
Because it's, like, like, they loved each other so much, and, like, she cared about him so much, but, like, it got to the point where, like, she had to leave.
Yeah, she had to leave.
Because he was just so far, like,
gone at that
rock
point.
Bottom, yeah. And she had, like, obviously they had a daughter at that, so it was just...
She had to leave, but
that was sad.
But it was still sad. But I loved, after that part when they do, like, the Viva Las Vegas, and it's like, oh, starring Priscilla, and then it's like you see them in Vegas a little bit, and then it kind of goes through, like, their younger years a little bit. Like, I love that. Like, I think that's is really cool. Like, I like that, seeing, like, you see him like making like movies and stuff like that, and then that's when he started getting a little bit more like into the film industry, and he wanted to break out more into music, and then that's when they were like, oh, we'll do a Christmas special, and then that ends up being like that comeback special, which is just amazing when he does Jailhouse Rock, and I love that scene too.
That was great.
I also think it's very cool how like they used when Robert Kennedy died, and then when he got assassinated, and Martin Luther King's assassination, how those were kind of driving points for Elvis going forward and bringing him more into the light, and like what messages he wants to be singing about, and like what he wants to be portraying and giving to people. Like I loved how they were like, you know, you should really say something, and because this is terrible and all that, and Elvis felt like he had to, and what he did is he wrote a beautiful song, which is If I Can Dream, and when he performed If I Can Dream, like that's one of my favorites. I love that song, and I just love that performance. I think it's just beautiful. I think it's great, and yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of the movie. I love that song.
Yeah, that was great.
As this whole thing is happening, you see like the Colonel going around, where's Here Comes Santa Claus? Where's Here Comes Santa Claus? Why isn't he in the sweater?
Yeah, that was funny.
The Colonel is somebody...
Oh my god. The whole thing with him like signing away on like the napkin, and like it's just so funny how back then that was like legal. That's what I said. I'm like, crazy. Why is this legal? Times were just so different. He literally just signed away and on the napkin. And it was so crazy to me.
Oh, that's another one of my favorite parts, when they're doing Suspicious Minds. Like, I love Suspicious Minds, and when he's singing that, like, on stage, and he's got the white outfit on, and then that's, like, the Elvis that, like, that's always been the Elvis that's, like, in my head.
With the white outfit.
The white outfit, and that iconic moment, and the dancing. Like, I cannot express how much I love Austin Butler in this movie. He is just
He really did amazing.
Unbelievable. He brings, like, the spirit of Elvis to life. Like, it is just so unreal watching him, the way that he moves, like the way that he was, I mean, obviously they combined his voice with Elvis, but just the way that he embraced Elvis and brought it on the stage was just, like, his presence was just unbelievable. I think the Colonel is somebody, it's very interesting because he says it in the beginning, like, you know, like, people say that, like, I killed Elvis, but I made Elvis, and he did, and that's what's
and then he killed him.
It's just, that's what's hard to, like, about this is, like, he did make Elvis, though. Like, he discovered him.
But he also destroyed him at the same time.
But he also destroyed him. And he destroyed him with his own personal issues because he was in debt, incredible debt. He didn't have a passport. Like, he couldn't travel out of the country. He held him back in that way. And that's why I feel like after, like, the whole, like, comeback thing, like, he really should have just dropped him at that point and switched management. But at the same time, like, I don't know at that point, like, what else, like, could have been done, because it was the doctors that were giving him prescribed drugs. So it's kind of, it's just, but then the Colonel making that deal where like 5 years he was gonna end up stuck in Vegas.
For him to get out debt free.
And it's just,
and he sees what it's doing to him, and he didn't care. He just cared about himself and getting out debt free.
Oh my god, the part when he like collapses on the ground.
Yeah, and then his dad, I feel like at that point that's where his dad like failed him.
Yeah.
Like just the whole like not intervening and like getting him the help that he needed when he so clearly shouldn't have been performing. He should have been sent to a hospital and not just pumped with more drugs.
Yeah. It's that part was really devastating for me because like he needed help so desperately. And it was very sad seeing how lonely he was though too. Like somebody who has so much money, so much fame, so much on stage, so many fans, and he was so lonely because, you know, his wife left him and his mom had died and he didn't have the relationship with his father.
And then he ended up in debt and he didn't have any choice but to basically go back with.
He had to stay. He had to stay. And I like that Priscilla. I like that there's like that scene with Priscilla, like when she says like, please go get help. Yeah. She's like, please go get help.
And
like
she like she sets it up,
so
but I mean
hard. She tried so hard. I love that scene, but it's so like sad. Like it always like gets me so emotional. Like the scene even when they break up, like when she leaves him. And honestly, like there's like obviously that's what Elvis did on stage. Like we watched videos afterwards of him like kissing fans off stage.
That is like the funniest thing to me is that he just kisses fans. Like, can you imagine if like
Nick Jonas did that?
Like any artist just starts kissing random fans and it's like a normal thing? I just think that's crazy. It's crazy. And it's so funny though, but
the way that happens like right in front of Priscilla, and it's just like,
yeah, that's what's wild about it. Like his wife is right there.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable. But
I think back then that was like a part of it. Yeah. Like it was more like normal, I guess. Like now that would be like insane.
Times are just really different. Yeah. And you don't really realize like how different times are until you like see that.
Yeah.
But even like how well behaved everybody was, like when he was doing that, like nobody like bombarded the stage, nobody ran on the stage, nobody like trampled anybody. Like there weren't any fights.
Shows were different back then.
Like shows were just like different.
It was cool to see.
Yeah,
fangirls.
Very cool. Exactly, like that's just so cool. And yeah, and because Elvis really was the first like, I don't know, like he was the first thing that people latched onto and had that moment with. And I think the other part that like really got to me was when, again, I always go back to that car scene with Priscilla, and he's sitting there and he's saying like, I want to be remembered. Like I haven't done anything to be remembered. Like I haven't done a good movie. Like I haven't gotten like he didn't feel like he had that name out there, and he really wanted to travel the world and go on a world tour, and I think he felt like that was a way to really conquer the world in a way and show his music to everyone.
I think he also just wanted to get out and like see the world too, and
which is really
it's sad. So sad that he never was able to because he was just trying to he was just trying to keep him there for his own personal gain. And then the fact that he didn't get to, because that's really what he wanted to do the most. That's very sad.
He never got to. I love at the end of the movie how it says that he is like the top selling artist ever.
Yeah.
And that, you know, now the year is 2023 and we're still talking about Elvis, you know?
Yeah,
like I think that's something that's so like, oh my gosh, like he didn't realize like the impact that he was still gonna have. Like back then, like he really had no idea.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I guess we're towards like the end of the movie now when he when they do Unchained Melody.
Oh my gosh. And it's like you just see the effects of the drugs with that.
It's like a year later, and then it just goes to Elvis dying and the whole thing. When he sings Unchained Melody though, like I said to you, and I was like, it's just so crazy to me that when so much failed him, and he was like stuttering a little bit at that point because this was months before he did die. He's like mumbling, like he's not like he's clearly on something. But when he opens his mouth, his voice never failed him.
Yeah.
The music never failed him.
Like, he was still an amazing performer.
He was still an amazing, like, it never left him when so much did.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and you could just really see, though, how much Elvis always loved his fans. Like, he just loved, like, performing, I think. But it was just really sad. Like, that movie, I always, like, that ending gets me very emotional. Yeah. Like, it's just such a great movie.
Yeah, so we really enjoyed it. I know we're a little bit late, but we figured that we would, because we just watched it tonight together, so we figured that it would be fun to do a movie review because we don't already have one. So yeah, let us know what your thoughts are.
Yes. We do want to do more movie reviews. I think it's also cool though doing movie reviews where people like have seen those movies, because like it's like bringing them back and talking about them and stuff like that. So like if there's any movies that like you guys love that you would love us to talk about, like let us know.
Yeah.
Because honestly we don't really I haven't seen many recent movies. Have you? Like I haven't seen many.
Not recent. No.
Like yeah. Like, I don't know, so, like, if there's any movies that you guys love that, you know, are out on Netflix or anywhere you want us to watch and talk about, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let us know. I'm curious, what is your favorite Elvis song? What is your favorite Elvis song, if you could pick an Elvis song?
Probably Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
Yeah. I feel like that's, like, a classic one. My favorite... mine changes a lot. Like, I go back and forth, because I also love Burning Love a lot, but I love, right now, like, If I Can Dream is, like, one of my favorites, because I just love that moment so much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let us know.
Yes.
Let us know all of that down below, and yes, thank you for watching. Bye!